Hello and welcome. I'm Jennifer Roig-Francolí, and this is the final video in this three-part series on Facebook on playing your instrument from the inside out, transforming your technique, your musicianship, and your connection with your audiences and students. All of that starts from what's going on the inside. So today's video is about purpose-centered performance. Bringing meaning to a world that is in desperate need of healing. And we musicians, we artists, we creative people are uniquely positioned, especially I'm thinking about how fast the world is changing with AI. I was just reading yesterday, I think, something Bill Gates said about the professions that are going to be able to continue and thrive in this crazy new world, which is kind of scary. But people who are creative, we are the ones that when we really know how to connect to this gift that we have and know how to share it with the world, this is going to allow us to survive, and not only just survive, but to thrive. But really, we truly need to know how to tap into the most important, the highest purpose that we have, so that we can let go of all the other stuff and rise above the muck in the world and really connect from our hearts to other people in their hearts. This is going to be the only way for us to survive in this crazy world. So before I go any further, I want to say hello to people coming on. Hey, Rick, I see your comment here. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate your showing up. And if you're watching the replay, please engage with the video. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. And I'm here. So just a brief recap. Video 1 of this series, we talked about the primary instrument and how technical mastery of our instruments starts from within, from knowing that this mind, body, self, who we are, is our primary instrument, and we need to put our well-being, our consciousness, all of this has to be first. We have to practice this instrument before as a priority, and then while we're practicing our instrument, whether it's violin, cello, piano, whatever your instrument is, we need to prioritize being present. And that's what the second video is really about. It was about going beyond technique and revitalizing your practice sessions by bringing the power of your presence to every moment in your practice sessions so that you can do that in performance. You can't be present during a performance when the stress is on, the pressure is on, if you haven't practiced doing that with your instrument in the practice room. And you really can't do that very well if you haven't practiced it in everyday life. So that's what my work is all about. It's about integrating your mind, your body, your spirit with your whole self, with your musical instrument in the practice room, and then bringing all of it together on the stage so that you can be relaxed and confident and pain-free and happy and totally enjoy yourself when you're performing. Because, and here's where we get to the topic of today, when you are doing that, when you are embodying who you truly are, when you are happy in yourself, because I truly believe in every fiber of my being that we are designed to be happy. We are here on this earth. I'm getting really emotional because I'm letting this flow through me. I really believe this. And I live it the best I possibly can. And I'm falling short every day because nobody's perfect and I'm far from it. We know we have to keep bringing ourselves back. We need to remind ourselves of why we're here. Every morning I get up and I take care of my mood. Sometimes I'm not in a very good mood when I wake up. Can you relate? Anybody else not in the best mood when you wake up? My kind of default programming, my habit from childhood when I really wasn't very happy a lot of the time, my default is to wake up feeling unhappy. So, but you know, even though it happens now to this day very often, I know instantly what I have to do to get my mood going, and I can do it very fast because I have the skills and I've practiced them. I know that my mind gets in the way So I do what it takes to get rid of what I call the doubt monsters, let go of those quickly, right when I wake up. Whether that means, and it does for me, it means taking time to meditate. But even before I get out of bed, I am connecting myself to my deeper purpose and my higher self and spirit, God, nature, the great mystery, whatever you want to call, the unifying force of this world and divine consciousness that wakes us up and allows us to move and think and do things with this body. I connect with whatever I can before I even get out of bed. And then I have meditations and things that I do early in the morning to lift me up. I'm a pretty happy person, but that means that I have very powerful skills and a strong purpose, a strong intention that I've had to work on and find in my life. There's a story that I tell my students about when my marriage was falling apart. This was after more than 20 years of a wonderful marriage in many ways and also very challenging in other ways. I decided to take a break from the marriage, and I was all excited because I could do all this journaling and soul searching and all that. But after 2 weeks, I got pneumonia, and it was misdiagnosed twice. So I didn't get the antibiotics I needed for 10 days. I was very, very sick for many weeks. I couldn't do anything. I'm so grateful that that happened because it made me really question what the heck I'm doing here. Which, of course, I'd been asking since I was a child. Truly, I've been asking these questions for my whole life. I care about deep questions. But when I got pneumonia and I couldn't do anything else, that's when I realized that if I didn't have a purpose, I got more depressed. I was very interested in watching this happen in myself day after day, noticing my mood go down slowly, because I was totally disconnected from any desires. But what I realized, and the reason I'm telling you this is because I realized existentially how important it is to have a purpose. And you don't have to know what your purpose is, but you do need to wonder about it and take some action every day, even if that just means pausing for a moment to open up your curiosity, flip that curiosity switch on, wondering about your purpose here is absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. And now I know that I need to teach this to my students. Every day I'm talking about it and making it practical and specific and teaching you how to do this through your instrument. How can you connect to your heart, bring your whole mind and body and soul, all of who you are, in alignment with something that is aiming up and out so that you go beyond yourself, your personal limited ego self, to expand and grow. It's a growth mindset that we want. When we allow that natural growth, we are alive. We are made to grow, just like plants and trees and flowers. We're here to blossom and grow, and we are here to share that light and love and beauty that is in us with the world. And as artists and musicians, we can do this through our music. We're so lucky. We're so fortunate. We're so fortunate to have this beautiful medium to express powerful emotions and feelings and purpose with the rest of the world. When you don't have this kind of connection to your purpose, and here's the thing, if you are a professional musician, I'm sure that you have a deep love of music. Otherwise, why on earth would you struggle as a musician? It's not the easiest profession to go into, right? Because you're a musician because you love it, or at least you used to. And that's the key. I want you to reconnect right now. Let's pause. Let's just take a little pause. Just take a moment to get quiet inside yourself. And I'll be quiet for a moment too. Even close your eyes if you want, unless you're driving. Close your eyes and just be quiet. Just be quiet for a moment and see what happens if you remember the deep love and joy that you can connect to through music, the joy of music that caused you early on to have this strong desire, a desire that was strong enough to carry you through endless hours of practicing, which weren't always fun. Endless scales, endless arpeggios, endless work on intonation, endless work on sound quality. Years of dedicated practice. Get in touch right now with what inspired you. And notice how you're feeling right now. Notice what's showing up in your body. Whatever you're noticing, just notice it without judging it. And then ask yourself with curiosity, okay, what else is showing up? When I do that, I notice that there's a bit of something in my lower back happening, but there's a lot of movement because I'm allowing the movement to happen. So now, what else am I noticing? I'm noticing a little tension in my neck, but I want to not judge that. Instead, say, oh, well, that's pretty interesting. Wow. I mean, it's interesting. We're alive and stuff happens on the inside that is interesting. We might not like it, but it's interesting, isn't it? Can you at least just get curious about it and don't do more than that? Just get curious and then move on and ask, well, what else am I noticing? Now, what happens to you when you connect to that something inside of you that lights you up, that makes you happy? Imagine people call it your happy place. I think that's kind of funny, but yes, imagine your happy place. For me, it's at the Mediterranean. It is looking into the turquoise sea. It is stepping into it, is diving into it and diving under the waves in a wash of turquoise. That makes me happy. To be surrounded by turquoise salt water and to float and play like a fish, that makes me happy. It lights me up. Whereas, I'm going to be quiet again now. Connect to something that makes you really happy. And see how you feel. See what happens in your body. Notice your emotions. If it starts to make you emotional, that's fine. Let it move. Let these feelings flow through you and then ask what else. Don't get stuck on anything. Ask what else. Then suddenly I'm in the forest. I'm in Switzerland, where my mother's from. I'm also Swiss, not just American. I'm Swiss. So I go to the mountains. I go to the forest. I'm there next to a babbling, gurgling brook coming down the mountain, and I can hear it. It's music, and it inspires me. The sound of nature inspires me. So see what happens to you as a whole when you connect to what inspires you. Now, imagine that there's something that's unique to all of these things you love. The inspiration itself. What is inspiration? To me, it's a spark that happens when I connect to what I call spirit. It's the great mystery. It's the best word for this. People have reactions to all kinds of words. One of the biggest ones is the word God. I don't use that word very often because people can really react to that. I'm not necessarily talking about that. And if you have a reaction, I'm definitely not talking about that. I am talking about what you love. I'm talking about love itself. It's the life that makes the flowers grow. It's the life that makes you grow and live. And it's this great mystery that is allowing me to have ideas and formulate them into words and share them. This is my performance, and it is purpose-centered right now. This is what I want to share and teach you how to do through your presence. We talked about that in the other videos. And then to carry that through your musical instrument, whether it's your voice, speaking or singing, reciting poetry, or writing with a pen, or through your bow and your violin and your cello and your bass and your trumpet and your trombone and your vibraphone. It doesn't matter what your instrument is. When you don't have purpose, it's depressing. You are disconnected from the most important, essential aspect of who you are. And I'm not saying you can't totally enjoy it. You can enjoy your performance even if you're disconnected from that. And I'm not saying you have to think about this all the time. But at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a little bit of a practice that you can do before your performance to help you do this. So make sure you stay to the end of the video. When you are disconnected from yourself, though, and you haven't even thought about it before you went on stage, you haven't thought about it during the day, you haven't thought about it for a week or a month because you're too busy and you don't have time and you're neglecting that part of you, it feels somewhat empty. You may not notice it at first, but if you are disconnected over a period of time, you're at risk for burnout. And you're also at risk for having an imbalanced life. So, you may do really well in your profession. You may win the audition, but how you did that may have caused your family to suffer because you didn't spend enough time with them. My work is about finding balance in your life and balance between you and the world around you so that there is not that disconnection between the inner world and the outer world. And when I'm talking about purpose-centered performance, when you are connected to this essence of who you are, and that is important for you to share, you enjoy it, and you know what? Your audience picks up on that immediately, instantly. The split second you walk out on stage, they will sense that there is something important here and they need to listen, and they are going to enjoy it. So they're looking forward to it. When you walk out with poise and confidence and joy, you're going to put your audience at ease. They may have had a very stressful day. Maybe they just were in the car coming to the concert, listening to the news. That's stressful these days, right? That's a recipe for tension. So what do they want? They want to come to the concert and forget about all that and let go and relax. You, as the performer, you're in charge of that. So you get to form your first impression within the first few seconds of walking on stage. You need to do that beforehand. So there is so much more I could talk about this. And with my students, we go into the very fine details so that it's not just abstract ideas. We talk exactly about how to do this, how to connect to what you're feeling in your body. We've done just a little bit of it today and, in the last couple of videos, just a tiny little taste. But in my programs, we go into great depth into exactly how to connect to yourself with specific practices that I call awareness etudes that are based on the Alexander technique and specifically primal Alexander technique. And it just takes a few minutes every day. If you spend just a few minutes, twice a day, regularly, you're building up a new neural network in your brain that is primed for centered, aligned, free, open, effortless, and flexible and responsive movement because it's based on that kind of thought, constructive thinking, not destructive and not mindless thinking. Although sometimes the best things happen when you finally get to the point where you can not even be thinking much about what you're doing. If you've been a performer for a while, you know your best performances, the magic really happens when you're not even trying, when you're not thinking about it. That is the flow state that we are accessing consciously on purpose with the practices that I share. So I also wanted to mention, I looked it up actually as I'm looking at my notes here, that actually there is research on how meaning enhances a flow state, and it also reduces anxiety. There are like 3 studies that I brought up online. One was a study in the Journal of Positive Psychology from 2008 that found musicians experience more flow when music has personal meaning. There was a Harvard research study in 2010 that showed that meaning reduces performance anxiety by 23%. That's a lot. Research in 2017 in the Psychology of Music found that purpose-centered musicians reported greater well-being. To me, that means they're happier. So I said that I would give you a little practice that we're going to do. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that if you really want to transform your relationship with your instrument, which is what this 3-part video series is all about, you have to have a deep clarity on the things that are holding you back. And those can be mental, they can be the way you're thinking, and in my experience, it's pretty much always related to something having to do with how you're thinking about things. So mindset is huge. There are emotional things that hold you back. There are physical things that hold you back too, like if you have tendonitis or neck pain or something. But ultimately, you can resolve all of these things with this approach. And most professional string players, however, are too close. You're too close to your own experience to be able to see your own patterns. You know, as a musician, it's hard to hear what you actually sound like unless you get objective feedback. So that means like video recording, audio recording, having a teacher. It's really important to have other people around you to reflect the truth, the reality of what's actually going on, because it's very easy for us to trick ourselves and we forget what our purpose is. So we need to be surrounded by like-minded, like-hearted people to help uplift us and keep us on the right track. That's where community comes in. All of my programs include the option to be part of a community. Having that group to help you see your patterns and articulate for yourself your deeper purpose. And that's when you can let go of tension and you let go of perfectionism, and you're not having performances anymore that don't fully express what's on the inside. How many of you have, had performances where you played really well, but you feel empty when you go home and you're alone? It's because you're disconnected, okay? So instead, you need to reconnect with your whole self, like I've said, as your primary instrument. And you need to discover practice strategies that support that. Strategies that energize you instead of exhausting you. And you need to be able to do that in a really efficient way, so you're not wasting time. Time is moving really fast, faster and faster, I believe. And so we need to know how to make the most of the little bits of practice time that we have here and there. I leave my violin out just so that when I walk by, if I suddenly have the whim to practice, I will grab those 5 minutes. I know how to make the most of those 5 minutes. It's not going to be just random mindless practicing. It's going to be very focused and connected practicing that makes me happy. Okay, if it doesn't make me happy, then I know there's something wrong. Right? Okay, so that's exactly the kind of things that we are going to do in my summer program. So before I give you the practice that I was promising you about what you can do right before a performance or before a practice session, I want to tell you a little bit about my upcoming summer program. It's called Sanctuary for Strings, where practice meets purpose beyond technique. So this is going to be a small, intimate group. My vision is 12 dedicated professional string players. And we're going to come together in a bunch of different ways. There is going to be a flexible schedule. So I know people already have a lot of their summer plans. They're going places. They have summer vacation with their families, things like that, and concerts in far off places. The nice thing about having this online program is that it travels with you. And there's no obligation. This is all about the art of freedom. It's about connecting with what is best for you in any given moment. So there are going to be abundant opportunities to connect with an amazing community of other professionals on the same path of personal growth and making meaningful performance to heal the world through music. We're going to have mastermind discussion circles where I'll just have a topic and facilitate it, but you're going to have a chance to talk with other professional string players who are wanting to elevate their experience and improve their technique without over practicing and injury and stressing out It's a sanctuary for strings where there's time for journaling and reflecting if somebody wants to do that. No requirements in this program whatsoever. We will also have master classes where I'm going to actually teach my skills based on Alexander technique and the Art of Freedom method applied to the very nitty-gritty specifics of violin technique, for example. So how do you improve your vibrato? Well, you connect to your vibration as a human being, your life, and the way you think. The way you think has everything to do with how you vibrate on any particular note. Being able to sustain the vibrato. It's all about clear intention. You have to know what you want it to sound like. And we are learning how to take the sound we hear in our heads and in our hearts and stop what's interfering from getting it out there. So that's what the master classes are about. And even beyond that, everybody's going to have the opportunity for private coaching from me 4 times, plus office hours, plus individual work in the master classes. And I'm going to be offering daily inspiration, tiny little nuggets to inspire your day, to inspire your practice session. So even if you didn't have a lot of time to come to all of the sessions, that daily inspiration is going to transform your summer, guaranteed. If you're curious, just send me a private message or put the word sanctuary in the comments on this video, now live or when you're watching the replay. For people here watching this video and some others, I'm offering a huge tuition discount for this week only. The early registration is 50% off. So make sure to ask for that. And when you connect with me, we can connect over Facebook Messenger or send me an email to jennifer@artoffreedom.me. And we can have a little chat that way. We can also hop on Zoom and have a personal face-to-face chat if that's helpful for you, depending on your situation. So you're going to experience artistic renewal for sure over this summer. So if you're feeling a little burned out and tired after a stressful, demanding year of performances and teaching, and you're just dying for the summer so you finally have time to work on the music you love, it's going to renew your artistry in the way that's best for you. There are also some special bonuses if you sign up within the next few days. If you sign up this week, I'm giving away the Performance Anxiety SOS Kit that helps you on the day of a stressful performance. Like I said, 50% discount this week. That's huge. And you'll also get access to 2 activities classes. One is on creating your mindset and goals. The other one is a gentle movement activities class where we bring our whole selves into very gentle Tai Chi-like movement. It's not Tai Chi, but it's very similar. It's very flowing. You're learning how to move and think with much less effort and less tension. Okay, so just tell me you're curious about this and we'll have a chat. So what I promised you earlier was to give you a specific thing that you can do, a technique that you can do. It's called the 5 pre-pearls, pearls of wisdom. 5 pre-pearls for aligned action. And I just was inspired to come up with these one day, and I teach them to my students regularly. They're a way to connect your whole self so that you can walk out on stage as yourself, enjoying, loving, and sharing yourself through music. So the 5 pre-pearls for aligned action. The first one is purpose. But like I said before, if you don't know what that purpose is, that's okay. But just touch on it. Just get curious. Just ask the question. This process does not need to take a long time, although it can if you want it to. You can do lots of journaling on this, which I recommend at some point. We'll probably do it this summer. So the first one, purpose. Second one is what I call the I wonder practice, where you want to ask yourself, like a child, ask questions. Turn on the curiosity switch and generate questions that don't need to be answered. It's a different way of thinking. It's childlike. You know, the quote from the Bible, "Be ye as little children." What does that mean? To me, that means wake up your innocence and your naivete. Imagine what it's like as a 3-year-old and you're exploring the space around you and you're just curious. You know how very little children they'll just ask questions and they don't even wait around for the answer. They don't even really care about the answer, but they're having fun asking questions. Okay, so we want to wake up that childlike experimental quality with the second pre-pearl. And the third one is not so much fun. It's the shadow. So we're going to just open up the door and say hello to the doubt monsters. Just acknowledge the doubts, the worries, the fear. In our world today, there is a lot of fear in the air, and it affects us. I know it affects me. Musicians, we are artists, we are sensitive, and we pick up on things. We pick up on the vibes in the air. And there's a lot to handle these days. But you can't just be an ostrich and stick your head in the sand. It's not going to work, because with your head in the sand, you can't make music. It's really hard to play the violin if your head is down under the ground, right? So we actually have to just acknowledge that life is tough and it's scary right now, and we probably have some doubts and fears about the future. Notice how it's affecting your body. Don't get stuck there though, and that's very important. Just notice how your thoughts, your emotions, and your body all are influencing each other, because you can't separate those. It's all you. So there is fear, worry, doubt, self-doubt, lack of confidence. Where does it live in your body? Feel it for a few seconds and then move on and ask, what else? What else? And then move into step 4. You might want to move there right away. And if you want to skip number 3, there are no rules. This is the Art of Freedom method. You get to do what you want. 4th pre-pearl is the light. This is where you get to remember your happy place, the things that light you up and inspire you, the people you love, the people that support you, even if it's somebody that you've never met before, but they inspire you. Maybe, like me, you used to listen to great violinists when you were falling asleep as a child, and if you remember that inspires you. Or maybe it's swimming in the ocean, like I told you about, like whatever it is that lights you up, right? And then pre-pearl number 5 is integration of all of the other 4 pre-pearls. And the specific way that I teach my students to do that is using what we call constructive thinking, and we do some awareness etudes. So even if you just do it for a few minutes, you're connecting your whole self in a very specific way. And that is what I'm going to be teaching this summer as well. My summer program is for new and returning students, and there's going to be a little refresher for alumni, but it's a very essential part for new students. You're going to get a very strong grounding in the Alexander technique, and specifically from my approach, the Art of Freedom method, including touch-free Alexander technique. So those are the 5 pre-pearls, and I would recommend that you write them down, and you can watch this video again and write them down. Just to recap, we have purpose. That's the first one. The second one is the I wonder practice. Then we have the shadow, and we have the light, and integration. Now, if you don't know how to do constructive thinking, if you've never worked with me before, and you don't know what I'm talking about at all, there are other ways, right? There are other ways to integrate everything. Honestly, the ways that I teach my students are the best that I've ever come across, and I've helped hundreds of musicians with this. They're fast, easy, and super effective. So strongly recommend that you consider taking one of my courses, especially this summer. The sanctuary would be great. But in the absence of that, prayer, just sit in silence and have that intention, contemplation, whatever it takes. Maybe it's a little bit of yoga, a little bit of Tai Chi. You basically, in the 5th pre-pearl, you want to be doing something to integrate your whole self and get aligned and carry your whole self on stage with that. And a very essential component to all of it, I think, for myself, is joy. To intend for joy. It's about your intention and manifesting your intentions into reality, into practical reality, and making music in ways that aren't going to throw you off balance. that aren't going to give you tension that causes pain. It's not going to waste your energy and make you exhausted afterwards. So reach out to me and let me know what you thought about all this, or comment below if you haven't yet. And very important, don't miss reaching out to me now, today, this week, if you're a professional string player and you want to have the best summer ever. This is going to be an amazing program. The most important thing is that you will have a sanctuary for strings, where practice meets purpose beyond technique. Okay, so reach out, comment below with the word sanctuary if you are curious, and I'll get in touch and give you details. Or just send me a private message through Messenger, or an email to jennifer@artoffreedom.me. That's .me. I'm really excited to share more details about this program with you and have a chat. Thank you so much for being here.